The man was red-faced, shouting in the middle of the cruise port parking lot, veins bulging in his neck as he screamed, "That's MY Uber!" And I remember thinking, buddy, you have no idea how badly you just played yourself. If you've ever dealt with entitled people who think the world owes them everything, do me a favor right now. Hit that subscribe button, tap like, and settle in, because this story is a perfect example of how karma doesn't need effort, it just needs patience. So this all started after what was honestly a pretty relaxing family cruise. You know how cruises are supposed to go: food everywhere, no responsibilities, ocean views, and the collective agreement that real life is temporarily on pause. The entire trip was smooth. No loud neighbors, no line cutters, no entitled meltdown stories. I almost felt cheated because, let's be real, half the fun of cruises is watching someone lose their mind over a deck chair. But the universe apparently decided to save it all for the very end. We finally disembark. Anyone who's ever gotten off a cruise knows the vibe, exhausted but relieved. Surrounded by chaos, luggage everywhere. People cranky because vacation is officially over. The port was loud, rolling suitcases clattering over concrete, car horns. Drivers yelling names, kids crying, adults pretending they're not stressed. My wife pulls out her phone and orders us an Uber. 2 minutes away. 2 minutes. I actually laughed because I expected at least a 15-20-minute wait with how busy it was. I felt that tiny surge of victory, like, wow, for once something's going smoothly. The Uber pulls up almost immediately. Same make, same color, same license plate. My wife walks over to confirm with the driver while I grab the bags. And that's when the calm absolutely shattered. Out of nowhere, this guy comes sprinting toward the car. Not jogging, sprinting. Middle-aged, already angry, face twisted like he'd been rehearsing this argument for half an hour. He gets right up in my wife's space and snaps, loud enough for everyone around to hear, "I've been waiting THOY minutes. That's MY Uber." I could see my wife tense up, that instinctive stiffening when a stranger comes in hot for no reason, but she stayed calm. She pulled up her phone, held it out, and said evenly, "This is ours. The car matches, the plate matches, and that's our driver's name." Any reasonable person would check their phone at that point. He didn't. He didn't even pretend to look. Instead, he scoffed and said, "I don't need to show you anything. I know this is my ride." That was the first red flag. Because when someone refuses to show proof, it's usually because they don't have any. I walked up at that moment, bags in hand, just in time to catch the man turning toward the driver, starting to argue with him too. The driver looked tired, that specific kind of tired that says, "I've already dealt with 3 idiots today, and it's not even noon." The man was getting louder, insisting he'd been waiting forever, that the driver, him the ride. And finally, the truth comes out. Turns out this guy did book the Uber. But when the driver messaged saying he was already at the port, just using the restroom, and would be a couple minutes late, the guy canceled. Not because he needed to. Not because the driver was actually gone. Because he was impatient. Then he rebooked. Got the same driver. Driver said the same thing. "I'm in the bathroom. Be there in a couple minutes." So what did this genius do? He canceled again. At that point, the driver finished up, accepted the next request, which happened to be ours, and pulled up within 2 minutes. That's when it hit me. That quiet, beautiful realization. This man wasn't wronged. He sabotaged himself. And now he was trying to bully his way out of the consequences. He started yelling about how long he'd waited, how unfair it was, how he deserved the ride because he'd been there first. People were staring, some shaking their heads, others pretending not to look while clearly listening. The driver finally snapped back, firm but calm, explaining that canceled rides don't exist anymore. That once you cancel, the ride is gone. End of story. The man's face twisted like he couldn't comprehend that the universe wasn't bending to his will. His voice cracked into that high-pitched rage people get when they realize yelling won't fix their mistake. And then the driver did something beautiful. He put the car in drive. We loaded our bags. The doors closed. As we started pulling away, the man shouted after us, "Inicus for bag, essentially!" And without missing a beat, the driver yelled back, "Do you want KNC, LTWIC, and XPT pretty?" I wish I could say we felt bad. We didn't. I looked out the window as he stood there, stranded, furious, watching the exact ride he thought he was entitled to disappear into traffic. And what I felt wasn't guilt. It wasn't smugness either. It was satisfaction, because this wasn't revenge we planned. We didn't argue. We didn't insult him. We didn't raise our voices. We just existed, and his own impatience did the rest. Inside the car, everything felt lighter. The chaos of the port faded behind us. My wife laughed, shaking her head, and said, "Some people, I swear." And that's the thing. This wasn't about stealing someone's Uber. It was about entitlement. About that mindset that says, my time matters more than yours, rules shouldn't apply to me, I can undo my mistakes by being louder. But the world doesn't work like that. Sometimes justice isn't loud. Sometimes it doesn't clap back. Sometimes it just quietly drives away while the person who caused the problem stands there yelling at nobody. And honestly, the best part, we got out of there faster than expected. So thank you, random angry man. Thanks for canceling twice. Thanks for queuing up a ride for us. If you've ever watched someone ruin their own situation and then blame everyone else, you know how satisfying that moment feels. And if you enjoyed this story, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it. Drop a comment telling us about the most entitled person you've ever encountered, because trust me, we all have one.